Here is my screencast for Practical Team Sports Assignment 1, the rules and regulations of two different sports. The first sport I'm doing is American football. The first bit of rules I'm going to go through is the actual football field itself. The field is 120 yards long and 53.5 yards wide. At each end of the field, 100 yards apart, are the goal lines. The additional 10 yards at each end is the end zone where touchdowns are scored. The field is divided up every 5 yards by a yard line. The middle yard line marker is called the 50-yard line. Parallel to the sidelines are rows of hash marks. The football is always placed on or between these hash marks at the start of each play. This makes sure that the teams have space to line up on both sides of the football. The position of the football that defines the sides of the ball is called the line of scrimmage. There are also goalposts at the back of each football end zone. One way to score points is to kick the football through the goalpost, which is worth 3 points. This is called a field goal. And then the other way you can score points through these posts, and once you've scored a touchdown, you can have an extra kick, which is worth 1 point. If any part of a player with the football touches outside the sidelines or the end zone, it is considered out of bounds. The next bit we'll go through is the format. American football is a timed sport. The team with the most points at the end of the time period wins the game. The game is divided up into 4 periods of 15 minutes, with a long half-time between the second and the third quarter. In the Super Bowl, there is even a half-time show to break up the game. Time is counted while plays are running and sometimes between plays. It counts between plays if a running play has happened and the player gets tackled inbounds, but it will stop if there is an incomplete pass or something like that. So the ball is dead, the time stops. If the ball is still alive, then the time keeps running. To keep the game going at a good pace, the offense has a limited time called the play clock between plays. This is between 40 and 60 seconds. The actual players themselves, the rules in football allow each team to have 11 players on the field at one time. Teams may substitute players freely as the game goes on. Each team must start a play on their side of the ball. However, they can only have 11 players on the field at one time. The defensive players may take any position they want and can move about their side of the football prior to the play without restriction. Although there are certain defensive positions that have become common over time, there are no specific rules defining defensive positions or roles. It all really comes down to common sense. The offensive players, however, have several rules that define their position and what role they may take in the offense. 7 offensive players must be lined up on the line of scrimmage. The other 4 players must be lined up at least 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. All of the offensive players must be set and still prior to the play beginning, with the exception of one of the 4 backs, which is probably one of the right wide receivers, can move parallel or away from the line of scrimmage. Further rules say that only one of the 4 backs and the players at each end of the line of scrimmage may catch a pass or run the football. Next, we actually go on to the play itself. The team with the possession of the football is called the offense. The offense tries to advance the football on each play. Defense tries to prevent the offense from scoring or advancing the football. The offense must advance the ball at least 10 yards every 4 plays or down. Each time the offense is successful, they will get a new first down and a new 10 yards. If the offense does not get 10 yards in 4 plays, then the other team gains possession of the football at the current line of scrimmage. However, what happens nowadays, if you don't reach it by your 3rd down, the attacking team kick or punt the football as far as they can, so the new attacking team doesn't get a good advantage. In order to keep the other team from getting good field position, this is where they can punt the football. Offensive plays on downs start with a snap. This is when the centre passes the football between the legs to the quarterback. The ball is then advanced either by running with the football or passing the football. The football play is over when the player with the football is tackled or the ball goes out of bounds. There could be an incomplete pass or there is a score. The offensive team can lose possession in many different ways. There is about 8 ways overall: scoring, not getting 10 yards in 4 downs, fumbling or dropping the football, then the defensive team recovers it, throwing the football to a defensive player for an interception, punting or kicking the football to the defensive team, or getting tackled in the end zone for a safety. Next we go on to penalties, which is one of the most important bits of American football. There are many rules and penalties that are enforced during a game. Most football penalties result in a loss or gain of yardage depending on whether the penalty is against the offence or the defence. The severity of the penalty determines the number of yards. Most penalties are 5 or 10 yards, but some really extreme personal fouls are 15 yards or more. Pass interference is the worst penalty, where sometimes it can match the length of the intended pass. So if an intended pass was 50 yards, the attacking team could gain 50 yards just from you messing up with a pass interference. The team that did not commit the penalty has the right to decline it if they are in a better position. I cannot list every detail or way possible for a football infraction because there are so many that are in the game. The main 5 or 6 are: first one is a false start, when a football player on the offence moves just prior to the snap. This is a 5-yard penalty. Note that one back on the defence can legally be in motion at the time of the snap. However, this is the same on the defence, but is called an offside. If a player from the defence is on the wrong side of the line of scrimmage at the time of the snap, a defensive player can cross the line of scrimmage as long as they can get back before the snap. But if they touch or interfere with an offensive player, this is an encroachment and a 5-yard penalty. Then we have holding. This is when a player grabs another player without the ball in their hands. This is stopping them from getting the football, which is also a 5-yard penalty. Here we have the pass interference. When a defender contacts a pass receiver after the ball is in the air to prevent him from catching the ball, this is where the referee will determine whether they have interfered with play or not. If the contact is before the ball is in the air, it will be called defensive holding. Note that pass interference can also be called on the offence if the defender has position and is trying to catch the ball. Here we have face mask. This is another type of penalty. This is the main one to protect the players because it is illegal to grab another player's face mask where it is so dangerous. This can lead to head injuries or neck injuries, and therefore it is a 15-yard penalty. You can also have roughing the passer or kicker, which is extremely dangerous. Once a quarterback throws the ball or a kicker kicks the ball, they are often unbalanced. Players are not allowed to run into them after the ball has been thrown or kicked because this can lead to serious injury. 10-yard penalty. The next one is intentional grounding. When the passer throws a pass nowhere near an eligible receiver, strictly to avoid being sacked. This means they are gaining an unfair advantage, therefore 5-yard penalty. Some of the examples I have for rules which should have been changed. In 1980, Mike Renfro received a pass from his quarterback which he caught in the end zone. He had 2 feet down in the end zone, so it should have been a touchdown. However, the ref said there was no touchdown where he didn't think at the time he had 2 feet down. In 1980, there was no video replay, so the play could not be overcalled. The Steelers then went on and won the game. The next one, which I have a video for, is Green Bay Packers v Seattle Seahawks. It was a Hail Mary at the end of the game where the Packers actually intercepted the ball, and there could have even been an offensive pass interference where the offensive player was messing with the defensive player. Yet neither of these was called, and instead a touchdown was called. Here you can see the quarterback is looking for the pass. He throws it downfield, and here there's a scrap here. The player caught it. Here, as you can see, they give a touchdown, saying that the Seattle Seahawks player actually caught it. Green Bay Packers players are protesting, and yet the Seahawks celebrating they gave it a touchdown. After the game, the referee ruled that he made the wrong decision. The other example I have, and in just this weekend gone, the Green Bay Packers cornerback Clinton Dix at the Detroit Lions got tripped over by the wide receiver just before the quarterback threw the ball. The cornerback was on the floor while the wide receiver was wide open running towards the Packers' touchdown end zone area. Instead of having a chance to intercept the ball, he was on the floor. This should have been an offensive pass interference, but instead no one's seen it, and the receiver caught it and scored a touchdown. The next sport I'm going on to is normal football soccer. The basics of football is a game with two teams of 11 players, played over the course of 90 minutes. This period is split into two 45-minute halves. The objective of the game is to score more goals than the opposition. The term goal refers to two areas either side of the pitch, each one defended by one of the teams. A goal is scored by depositing the ball into the opponent's goal. Next we go to play. Football can be played on a natural grass or artificial surface. The field must be rectangular, with the dimensions of 90 to 120 metres long by 45 to 90 metres wide. International matches are much stricter, where the length of the pitch must be 100 to 110 metres long, and then the width must be 64 to 75 metres. The goal area, so the 6-yard box, is 5.5 metres from each goalpost and extends 5.5 metres out, with the two lines joining. The penalty area starts at the 16.5 metres away from each goalpost, 18 yards, and it extends 16.5 metres out. So it's 18 yards. That is why it's sometimes called the 18-yard box. Then you have flag posts, which are placed at each corner, and the goals must be 7.32 metres between the posts and 2.4 metres high. The post cannot exceed 5 inches. The number of players. One of the 11 is classified as the goalkeeper and is permitted to handle the ball in his team's penalty area. The 11 players are supplemented by the option to bring on a maximum of 3 substitutes from a pre-decided list of 3 to 7 players. In order to bring on a substitute, the referee must first be informed, and then has to be a break in the play, like a free kick or throw-in. The substitute then comes on as a replacement for one of the current 11 players. In football, equipment is obviously key, however, it is limited compared to other sports. Team jersey, shorts, and socks, which the player must be wearing shin guards, so shin pads, and football boots. They are the only two real pieces of equipment they desperately need. The goalkeeper is also permitted gloves and a different coloured jersey for identification purposes. The duration of the match. The match officially lasts 90 minutes and is split into two 45-minute halves with a half-time interval of no longer than 15 minutes. A team can only score if the whole ball crosses the goal line between the goalposts. The winner is the team who scores the most goals. Offside is the main problem for all newcomers to football. This is made harder by the fact that it keeps changing to the offside. 1 being in an offside position, 2 committing an offside offence. To be in an offside position is to be the opponent's goal than the last opposition outfield player, apart from the goalkeeper. However, to commit an offside offence, it has to be played forward towards you while in that position. As such, you can be in an offside position and not commit an offside offence. The next one is fouls and misconduct. A foul can take place anywhere on the pitch, and a free kick is awarded where that foul takes place. In the penalty area, a penalty kick is given. The referee can then choose simply to just award the foul, speak to the player about his contact, or he can take matters further. For example, he